Joining us now in New York, former New York Republican Congressman Joseph DioGuardi. He is now the president of the Albanian American Civic League. In Washington, we have Republican Iowa Senator Charles Grassley and former Arizona Democratic Senator Dennis DeConcinni. Senator DeConcinni, welcome back. Good to see you. Senator Grassley,
John.
good to see you.
Good to be with you.
You know, the military calls it collateral damage, Senator, which is an antiseptic term for the inevitable victims of war. Do you agree with, I mean, what, is this something we have to expect being involved in this?
When you say senator, do you mean Senator Grassley or Senator DeConcinni?
Well, we start with you, Senator Grassley. You can go first.
Okay.
But I mean, we're talking about these tragedies, these innocent people, these victims of the NATO bombing. Is this something we have to anticipate and expect, as the president said?
The answer to that is definitely yes. When the president was advised by his generals before he made a decision to do that, to go to bombing, that he shouldn't do it, and he decided not to listen to them. We're seeing some of the end result of not accepting, as a political leader, some of the wise judgment of your military leaders.
You know, I have been making this point, Senator DeConcinni. The brightest military minds in the country warn this president airstrikes alone will not be able to accomplish the mission that he wants. We now see the escalation. We have 24 Apaches, 82 planes, the request for 300 more, and then the possibility of some congressmen want to send in ground troops. Senator DeConcinni.
Yeah, but Sean, you know, you got to look at the history here. You know, there was a division in our military about bombing Bosnia, or whether to send ground troops or whether to send any bombing or not. And General McPeak, who was the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, said we could do it with air only, and it turned out to be right. A lot of people said we couldn't within the military. I was chairman of the Intelligence Committee then, and I remember so well, even during the Persian War, there was a split. There was a division within the military. Somebody, commander-in-chief, President of the United States, whether it's Bush or it's Clinton, has got to make the decision.
All right,
and I think the president has made the right decision and is using caution, but he's using the force of our military technology.
Senator DeConcinni, we know the senators, senior four-star officers, prior to the engagement that's going on in Kosovo, that they warned the president about this. We now find ourselves in a position today where Secretary of Defense William Colmes says this Kosovo conflict can stretch into the summer. He acknowledges American casualties are likely. We now see the escalation. There's a lot of talk about ground troops. We have to ask some serious, significant questions that have not been raised heretofore. Is why are we there? What is our end game? What is our exit strategy? And is it a vital U.S. interest? The Powell Doctrine question.
Yeah, well, the question why we're there is because Mr. Milosevic is committing genocide. Now, the question is, what is the end strategy? What are we going to do? Well, I don't think we have to disclose that, and I happen to agree with the president. There's no reason to commit ground troops. I don't think we have to pay that dear a price, but we do have a responsibility to respond. What this president has done is put 19 countries together, NATO, to do an air campaign. That's quite a feat in and of itself.
Congressman DeConcinni, just before we bring you in, Congressman DioGuardi, Congressman DeConcinni has said we don't have to disclose an exit strategy, but we do have to have one. And I question whether we even have an exit strategy. If we know at the end, at least in the Persian Gulf War, we knew what would have to happen for us to get out of there.
Yeah, that's true, but it's a different kind of war. Senator Grassley and I have been over there. We know what that terrain is like, and we may have a disagreement on whether you should use ground forces or not, but it's so different than the Persian Gulf War, we cannot compare the same kind of terrain and the same kind of war.
We have to know what would have to happen, though, for us to get out. Congressman DioGuardi, you know, here's the situation. I think
why are we listening to the generals now? They're saying that we should commit the ground troops if we want to win this one.
Well, you know, what I don't understand, though, is we're told at the outset, we'll go in, we'll do an incursion, we'll bomb him, he'll back off, that'll be the end of it. Now we're hearing July. We're hearing figures like $8 billion. We're hearing ground troops. Why couldn't we have been told the truth about this from the beginning? I think they tried to get us into this administration, without telling us up front what the parameters were. And that's what's infuriating to the American people, not to be told the truth.
The worst thing that we're hearing is that we have almost 1 million refugees, displaced people in Kosovo, and they may be starving. Isn't that a good enough reason now
I think
to get on with this thing and finish it?
I think it's a great reason.
Arm the Kosovo Liberation Army. We armed the Croats.
You want to arm the KLA?
Why not? Didn't we arm the
terrorist
Croats?
group?
Didn't we? It's not. Where are you hearing that from? Mr. Shremek, the Serbs?
It's been all over
Listen,
the place.
Come on.
They're funded, but you deny that they're funded by drug. You deny that they're funded by drug money.
Absolutely. That's Milosevic. You got the wrong.
I'll tell you what.
person.
We have some breaking news. The bombing continues tonight. By the way, here are the latest pictures out of Yugoslavia. NATO is pressing its air campaign, hitting military installations, TV transmitters, and bridges tonight. These are the latest pictures throughout Yugoslavia, and targets included some in Montenegro and Belgrade, and 2 explosions and a large fire were reported. An oil refinery and an oil depot were hit, according to Yugoslavia's official news agency. Belgrade sky was lit up by anti-aircraft fire as NATO planes continue to fly over the city as we speak. So those are the very latest pictures. We have the latest developments coming out of Kosovo.
You know what's going on, don't you? The people that helped me don't trust you not to write a story that's about something other than Kosovo, and they think the longer I stay up here, the greater my chances of screwing up. That's really what's going on here. It's wonderful when you're not running for anything. You can say that, you know, just exactly what's on your mind.
Mr. Clinton spoke today at a gathering of newspaper editors. He said he's afraid of us press people. Welcome back to Hannity and Colmes. I'm Alan Colmes. Remember, we'll be joined by Paula Jones tomorrow night. But right now we're talking about the conflict in Kosovo with former New York Republican Congressman Joseph DioGuardi, now president of the Albanian American Civic League, Iowa Republican Senator Charles Grassley, and former Arizona Democratic Senator Dennis DeConcinni. Senator Grassley, what about this idea, as Congressman DioGuardi said, of arming the KLA? A good idea or a bad idea?
We armed the Croats in Bosnia.
Senator Grassley?
It would be a better idea than having American troops on the ground.
But isn't it a little late for that?
But let me say, you know,
listen,
everything we've been talking about here is just shows what's wrong with this whole policy. We stumbled into Kosovo, and I'm surprised that a president who objected to the war in Vietnam, did not want to be drafted, and ought to learn by that, because we stumbled our way through Vietnam and finally just barely got out. And we've stumbled now into Kosovo again, that we would have history repeat itself.
I'm with you on this one. This may shock you. I'm the liberal on the show, but I agree with you on that. And I'm shocked that we're involved here at the hands of President Clinton. Senator DeConcinni, wouldn't it have been better in the first place to arm, if not the KLA, at least provide munitions to others who could have carried out this policy rather than us doing it ourselves, spilling American blood?
You don't know for sure that's not happening, because some things happen that are covert and that are classified. Number two, the president is doing the right thing. He is using the military force without jeopardizing hundreds of thousands of American men and women. I think it's a good policy. I think it's responsible to go in there and do something. We also are providing aid for the humanitarian aid. That's what this is all about. And Milosevic is the villain here. He's the one that's got to be held responsible even for the accidents. This wouldn't have happened had he not moved into Kosovo. He's been threatening those people. I've been there 3 times. I've seen him absolutely run into the ground, discriminated again.